Hello, everyone. We are live. And it looks like my audio settings are good. So, I think it's Friday. I'm still working furiously to finish out a whole bunch of tasks. I am the outgoing chair of the Libertarian Party, and I'd like to share some of our greatest accomplishments with you today. I'd like to encourage you, to edify you, to issue some warnings and cautions, and to give you advice on how to keep succeeding in the future. We, as the Libertarian Party, just achieved the biggest political victory in the history of the party. We saved Ross Ulbricht's life, and we did it in a very public way. Now, I have heard from Ross's mother, but I have not heard from Ross. I know a lot of people have been asking about that. I think he needs some time to himself, and we should respect that. It's no joke for a nonviolent, innocent person to go to maximum security prison with all manner of murderers and thugs, for 11 years. So I'm very glad he's out, and we'll give him some peace and respect his privacy. We were recognized by the President of the United States 36 hours into his term, which is pretty incredible. We hosted that same president at our national convention, along with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Vivek Ramaswamy, Tulsi Gabbard, Nicole Shanahan, Thomas Massey, Kash Patel, Mike Lee. It was an incredible event. I'm very proud of that. During my tenure, we held all kinds of amazing events. Rescue the Republic, which was our biggest outreach event, as far as I know, in the party's history. At least it was planned and coordinated with the party. Rage Against the War Machine, which I'm so glad to have worked with Nick Brana and members of the Dissident Left on. The first anti-war rally specifically aimed at opposing the United States involvement in the war in Ukraine, and possibly the catalyst for reigniting the entire anti-war movement after a period of more than 10 years of silence. We have built incredible relationships in the Libertarian Party under my leadership. RFK Jr., who is a lifetime member of the LP, Kash Patel, who was our guest speaker at Freedom Fest, Brett Weinstein, who was also our guest speaker at Freedom Fest, Tulsi Gabbard, a guest speaker at Rage Against the War Machine, Thomas Massey, a guest at our convention, Mike Lee, a guest speaker at our convention. There's been a lot of incredible relationships built. Robert Breedlove, Dr. Peter McCullough, we're grateful for all of the attention that you've given us. Roger Ver, Julian Assange, whatever work we've been able to do to advocate on your behalf, I'm very grateful and happy that I was able to do that. And of course, Ross Ulbricht. What's really incredible is I can call up a lot of these people, and I'd like to be able to transfer these relationships over to the next chair. And that's one of the reasons that I've endorsed Michael Heiss to take my place. I believe there needs to be continuity and a strong relationship in the narrative. Politics at this level are relational. They're not transactional. And there is no recognition or transaction without a carefully cultivated relationship. Now, Michael Heiss is our founder. He is the visionary. It makes sense that he should lead us. He's been on staff. He understands how party operations work, which is very critical. The learning curve for chair is very steep, and I will probably talk about that a little bit more later on. Competency in RONAR and meetings and reports do not make an effective chair. Vision, thick skin, diplomacy, wisdom, and the ability to take risks are what make a good chair. Consensus building, driving things forward. It's my intention to work closely with staff over the next 2 weeks as I go out and to have a smooth transition. That's what is best for the organization. I hope that I will also have a smooth transition with our next chair. Now, there is a theory that if the LNC has a chair that draws a little less ire from our haters and critics, that things will be smoother. And that is false. The nature of this party unfortunately, is that there is no stability ever. The big tent of the party has assured that. When the Koch brothers left the party in the early 1980s, it was the same way. You cannot put multiple groups of people who hate each other and have oppositional ideas all under the same tent and expect there to be peace. There will be no peace in an organization with that big of a tent and a bottom-up structure. It is what it is, right? And that's a situation that we all walk into as we come to chair the party. If the LNC were to install a placeholder chair or a smooth things over chair or a hater chair, the opposition will immediately increase their demands. They ask for a seat at the table. They flex on the LNC, and then the Mises dominant LNC has to either fight them or capitulate. And if they capitulate, then all of you, the MC, their allies, the anti-woke people, the people who don't want to be neoliberals, the principal anti-war people, the people who aren't crazy, or cowardly, you get angry, and the LNC will have to fight you. And the fighting will never end until you can make some major changes to the bylaws, which I might recommend to you on a later date. And I don't want it to sound like it's a giant exercise in futility. It's not. Because by slogging it out in internal fights and drama, you enabled me to swing my brass balls around and deliver a win at the federal level and save a libertarian's life. You all helped free Ross Ulbricht. Every supporter of mine, every boots on the ground organizer mattered. Every call you made to get people to show up at convention, every dollar you spent on yourself, having to be there, paying for someone else who was a little bit broke, getting people to state conventions, slogging it through some of these miserable internal fights. Every single action mattered. Every vote you stayed on the floor for mattered. Your blood, sweat, and tears made all of this possible, and I am eternally grateful to you, and you deserve a chair that will work closely with you and acknowledge your contributions and give you the credit and outcomes that you deserve. I will not abandon you. I will continue to be a party member, to be a caucus member, and to champion you and to be a mentor. I will network for you. I will work to advance legislation for you. I will lobby to get more libertarians free, as I am lobbying right now for Roger Ver, Lauren Chen, and many other people who have reached out to me desperate for help, desperate to get their loved ones out of prison, to get themselves out of legal trouble, and so on and so forth. And again, I can't state enough how important your contributions are that have allowed me to get to that point. I will continue to lift up our mission to advance liberty, PDR, and to slash the federal government. Everything we do must be in service to the mission, not in service to our egos, not in service to the ego of the chair, to people who wish they were chair, to people who are the chairs of subcommittees, to people who think they're important. I want to give some advice. So some thoughts, share them maybe with the next chair. You are going to stumble. You will be hated. You will not be perfect. You will be faced with difficult decisions where you must choose from a bad or a worse outcome. You cannot please everyone, and you should not try. You are going to have to become an expert at everything. You must wade through spreadsheets. You must know everything staff does. You must make fundraising calls. You must have your finger on the pulse of political strategy. You must understand marketing. You must learn to use Ronar. You must learn to flex diplomacy. You must learn to be a strong leader and to push through when people doubt you sometimes. You must have the wisdom and discernment and judgment to understand the difference. You must be a professional, a radical, and a visionary. You must not be swayed by bureaucracy. You must carry forth a vision and execute. Beware of shifting alliances and power grabs. Beware of demoralization campaigns. You must ignore attacks by corporate media and lawbirds and feds. I say hello to the corporate media and feds who are watching this right now. You will be attacked by feds, and you're going to have to charge on. There's no way out but through. I pray that you'll guide the party from your place in the eye of the storm and that they'll listen to you. I pray that God will grant you wisdom, patience, and grace. I pray that God will protect you from the vicious, relentless cyber stalking that comes with this job. And I pray that God will protect your family. My job now is to shift my role in the hero's journey, to pass the torch on to the next great hero, to become the mentor and to guide you and counsel you along the way. I will support you as you fight all of these battles, and I will allow you to be the new hero because that's your job. And then one day your job will change and you will join me as a mentor. And that's something we can do together that this party is desperately lacking right now. In 2022, as I began to campaign for this role, I compared us to the Israelites wandering in the desert. And I have brought you to the edge of the promised land, and we have glimpsed it. But someone now has to be the one to lead you over the edge and into the promised land. Kind of like Moses, my role is to die on this hill. I want to give some advice to the LNC and to party members, people who are in positions of leadership on a slightly lower level, people who might think about joining the LNC. Be wary of bureaucrats and people with cluster B personality disorder. It's not just women. Men have it too. Beware of interlopers and people seeking to put their own egos ahead of the mission. Beware of people seeking power. Beware of people who exhibit cruelty. Beware of those who elevate bureaucracy over freedom. Beware of ideologues and the demonically possessed who walk among us. Beware of those who seek to tear down what we have built for their own personal aggrandizement. We have built something incredible, and don't let them try to tear it down. Beware of anyone who seeks to elevate infighting over the freedom of Ross Ulbricht. They should automatically be disqualified and shunned. Tall poppy syndrome is plaguing this party right now. It is a deadly pestilence. Do not allow it to take root in leadership ranks. Steer clear of narcissism. Steer towards the mission of exacting wins at the federal level via concessions. Steer towards the decentralized revolution at the local level. PDR. Trust the mission. Have faith in leaders who brought you this far. Ignore the haters. Disregard their propaganda. And if you can find it in your heart, you need to pray for your enemies. Now, as some of my last acts of chair, I am issuing a few impactful directives. Some of them I have left with staff, and staff will be executing on them after the confirmation hearings that impact us are completed next week. But the first chair's directive I am issuing on this call is to grant an honorary lifetime membership to President Donald J. Trump, the 45th and 47th President of the United States. An honorary membership does not confer voting rights. It does not include a signing of the non-aggression principle, but it is an honor. And Donald Trump took time out of his schedule to sit down, listen to me, listen to my concerns, read the comments and concerns and suggestions that all of our party members put on our internal poll last year, promised that he would free Ross Ulbricht through all of the miserable, embarrassing behavior of our delegates at our national convention. And you know who you are if you did that. And he delivered on his promise anyway. He didn't have to do it. Barack Obama broke most of his promises to grassroots leaders. So did Biden. Biden left BLM right out in the cold. Donald Trump didn't just deliver on his promise to free Ross. He went above and beyond. Instead of a commutation, he gave the man a full pardon. He did it 36 hours after he was sworn in. And he did it in a very public way, and he thanked us. And so my thanks to him is to give him an honorary lifetime membership. Thank you, President Trump. That was incredible. Thank you for saving the life of a libertarian. Thank you for showing that you care about us. I acknowledge and understand that you are GOP, former Dem. You didn't have to go out of your way for us, and you did. So thank you. My next act as chair, my directive, is we have this really tasteless mascot called George Quillies. It is named after someone who I believe is a federal operative, and hopefully I'll be finding that out with the help of some of the people who will be ascending in the intelligence agencies soon to unmask all of these freaks and declassify things. So I don't know that it's within my purview to kick George Quillies to the curb, but I am giving us a new Libertarian Party mascot in addition to George Quillies. And I hope that everyone else will kick George Quillies to the curb. Our new additional Libertarian Party mascot is going to be Milo the Lion. That's right. We are going to model ourselves much more after the Lion of Argentina, the highly successful Javier Milei, who holds himself out as a lion, who has slashed the federal budget and done what maybe no libertarian ever thought possible, which was basically become the president of a country and slash the federal government and, rescue a country that was just in an economic death spiral. Now, there's this 1986 movie called The Adventures of Milo and Otis. It follows the life of a small orange tabby kitten as he grows up. He sort of goes through the cat version of a process of self-actualization. If a cat can go through such a process, he has kittens of his own. His name is Milo. I kind of thought of that a little bit too. Like we are on our way to becoming a lion. I feel like we sort of had this sort of house cat mentality, and we are leaving that in the past. It's my opinion that the porcupine should never have been the LP mascot. Yes, a porcupine has quills, but it is inherently a prey animal. It is inherently passive. It has no real power. It doesn't shoot quills. The best it could do is shake and maybe a few kind of fly out. It's not an attack animal. And I think the non-aggression principle is a useless hollow gesture unless it is adopted by a creature capable of great aggression. The NAP is useless unless you can recognize you are capable of great aggression and you have the ability to restrain yourself. And that's what makes a powerful, self-actualized, competent, capable libertarian. Weak men are probably the most capable of evil, but I don't think they're very capable of good. We need to be strong. We need to exercise restraint. We need wisdom. We need judgment. We need power and discernment. And we need to go and just relentlessly pursue freedom and goodness. Now, I can't say where I'm going yet. I need to wait until after Kennedy's confirmation. But I am confident my new position is going to continue our mission and make America libertarian again. I ask you to support Michael Heiss for chair, to continue to support me in whatever way you have. Definitely support the Mises Caucus and celebrate all of our awesome wins. I want to help keep you delivering wins. Thank you guys so much for your support. My advice to all my listeners is just, I'd ask you to just relentlessly pursue freedom and liberty. Develop your instincts. Trust your instincts. As Michael Heiss said in his notorious interview with Reason in 2022, you will know us by our fruits. And I got to say, we have achieved the biggest libertarian, political, moral, and just win in the party's history. Taste the fruits. The fruits are good. Thank you, guys.